South Korea says it has fired dozens of shells towards the DPRK in retaliation for a projectile fired at a loudspeaker. South Korea's Defence Ministry says it has put the country's military on high alert. Residents of several border villages have been ordered to evacuate their homes for nearby shelters. South Korea claims a rocket was fired from the DPRK along a western section of the border at around 4 o'clock this afternoon. The Defence Ministry says it targeted a South Korean loudspeaker that had been blaring anti-Pyongyang broadcasts. The ministry says the DPRK has urged South Korea to stop all propaganda broadcasts within 48 hours. Now let's get the latest on this developing story from our correspondent Eugene Jung in Seoul. Welcome, Eugene. You told us earlier that you may be able to get some more information from possibly a news conference. Just explain what has happened today. The exchange of fires come during the annual US and South Korea military exercises, and I'm curious to know if there's any link between the two incidents.
Right, Edwin, a quick recap on what happened this afternoon at 3:52 p.m. local time. On Thursday, the DPRK fired a projectile at a South Korean loudspeaker that had been blaring anti-DPRK propaganda all week. Seoul fired back tens of artillery rounds towards that source of that incoming projectile, but according to the Defense Ministry here, there has been no further reaction from the DPRK since. This took place in the western part of the inter-Korea border zone, and residents nearby have been ordered to evacuate. South Korea has since raised its military level alert status to the highest level and is also closely watching the DPRK's military movements. President Park Geun-hye has said Seoul should respond sternly to the DPRK's provocations. Today's exchange of fire, as you said, happened as the United States and South Korea are holding a joint military exercises on the Korean Peninsula. The DPRK calls these joint exercises, or whatever form of joint exercises, a preparation for war. They have been denouncing it for the longest time, but still, it is very, very rare for the DPRK to conduct any such military moves during the joint drills. So experts here are saying this is rather unusual. Instead of the joint exercises, the projectile, the propaganda loudspeakers in South Korea were likely linked to the projectile that was fired from the DPRK today. Edwin?
And Eugene, South Korea's presidential office, we understand, has convened a meeting of the National Security Council, and the South Korea military has raised its alert status. How will South Korea proceed from here on?
Right, so far, as you said, immediately after it happened, South Korea's presidential office convened an urgent National Security Council meeting, which was chaired by the president herself. After the meeting, South Korea's president said South Korea should respond sternly to the DPRK's provocations and to maintain the military alert level at its highest. The DPRK just sent a letter to South Korea threatening to start military action if South Korea does not stop those loudspeakers from broadcasting psychological propaganda towards the DPRK. This isn't the first time that Pyongyang has complained about those speakers. On Saturday, the DPRK also demanded Seoul to stop those broadcasts or to face military action. So we're seeing the same kind of response today. And the DPRK also started conducting their own broadcasts since Monday. The exchange of fire was the first time, but between the two sides was the first time since October last year, when DPRK soldiers approached the military border, the inter-Korea border, but didn't retreat. So the South Korean military fired some warning shots. The DPRK soldiers fired back. At the time, no casualties were reported from this, but you can see that incidents like this can easily trigger tensions on the Korean Peninsula to rise ever since, especially because the two Koreas have remained in a technical state of war since the Korean War ended in a truce and not a peace treaty. Edwin?
All right, Eugene, many thanks indeed for updating us there. Eugene Jung, our correspondent in Seoul.